Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show. Meet the trusted experts who will give you straight answers and will help guide you on the path of later life care. Now, here's your host, founder, caregiver, and CEO, Suzanne Newman.
And welcome back, everyone, to Answers for Elders Radio Network, here with David Phillips from Estate Planning Specialist LLC in Arizona. And of course, David is the co-author of Generational Wealth Strategies. And you can get your copy at generationalwealthnewsletter.com. And we are talking about the whole scenario of downsizing. 54% they project in the years between 24 and 26, there's going to be this huge shift of baby boomers downsizing into different forms of living. All of a sudden, David, I really want to talk to you about this, because what if somebody's living in like $1 million house, which is not uncommon these days? What happens? How did they downsize most effectively and not be hit with a bunch of taxes and all kinds of stuff?
Well, I mean, first of all, anytime we sell something that we have gain in, we're going to have to pay taxes.
Right.
And so right now, the capital gains tax rate is the lowest it's been in about 50 years. And so
that's awesome.
Now, depending on what state we live into, because some states have capital gains tax as well, like California does. So, I mean, there are some strategies that we can implement to actually avoid all of those taxes, like a charitable remainder trust, working with Melody's group and Legacy Global Foundation, who's one of the authors of Generational Wealth Strategies. But the most common idea right now is to take the money after the tax and secure guaranteed income for you for the rest of your life. So, we think of guaranteed income. What's one source of guaranteed income is Social Security is. We get the Social Security check at 65 or 66 or whatever we decide to defer it to. But let's say we downsize and we end up with $100,000.
Okay.
Right now, a 65-year-old could create, put in $100,000 and jointly create $6,000 a month in income. So that goes for the rest of both lives. $6,500 actually guaranteed for the rest of that couple's life per month. $6,500 per month for the rest of their life. Okay. If we're just by ourselves and we just want to do it for ourselves, a male, $7,300, a female, $7,000 a month. The interesting thing is there's an anomaly going on right now because interest rates are dropping. Fixed rates have been the highest they've been in 20 years, and they're actually now dropping. And so what you want to do is there's an anomaly called a fixed indexed annuity with guaranteed income that actually, remember that joint couple that I said got $6,500 a month? If they do this with the indexed annuity with the guaranteed income rider, they get $7,100 a month guaranteed for the rest of their lives. So if I have $100,000 net income after selling my house, take some of it, and get more income guaranteed for the rest of your life. And the way they do that is they call Todd here at my office, 480-899. What is it? 480-899.
We'll put it on the website.
480-899-1102, and call and ask for Todd and say, hey, I want to look at guaranteed income for the rest of my life. And then he'll show you the different options that are available that right now are high. But I'm going to tell you, they're dropping. So you need to actually move sooner than later on this.
Sure.
Especially if you're selling your house and you've got some equity.
Yeah, and absolutely. So you sell this $1 million house. And here's the thing that I look at, David. A lot of times people are downsizing and moving into what we call CCRCs, which has to do with basically you do a huge buy-in. And then you never have to move out, even if you run out of money, right?
Correct.
So How does that affect you? Let's say you get $1 million for your house and you end up having an entrance fee to a CCRC of 500,000, something like that. That's
Right.
pretty much common. How does that work?
Well, so I mean, you're just basically converting your cash into um a place where you don't have to have income.
Right.
You don't have to have the income to satisfy those expenses because you're done. So
Yeah, and you
it's a
still have your
it-
400,000 that you can live off of, plus your Social Security,
right,
which can actually pay your community fee, which is not much when you
right,
live in a CCRC. But then you get into a situation of care costs, right? That's an over and above, and that's where it always hits you.
right.
What happens then?
I mean, it's a choice matter. If
Hmm.
right now I want to stay in my home, and I don't want to go to a community like that,
Right.
then there you have to have that option as well.
Sure.
And you can pull out equity from your home in what's called a reverse mortgage.
Hmm.
If so there's some options. You need to
Hmm.
look at all of the options that are available to you. In our area here in Phoenix, there's several of those communities. And frankly, I've looked at them because I on during the holidays, I go over and I play music for them, and I'm not really that excited about them, just because there's just some things that I don't really feel comfortable in. But that's because I'm pretty independent.
Uh-huh.
And if you're independent and you like things the way they are, then maybe
Hmm.
staying at home is a better option for me,
Hmm.
and then
Well, and I
having
think,
people come to, having people care for me at my house. So,
yeah. And if you can financially afford it, if you can be in a situation where you can care for a spouse, a lot of times think, but the thing I think that's really important in this conversation is I don't know a single senior living community that wants to have a resident that doesn't want to be there. I think
no,
one of the things that's really important about what they do and how they serve our older adults is phenomenal. And certainly there's times, for example, there's a spouse who may get Alzheimer's or dementia. There's only so long that you can take care of that loved one. Then you have a choice. Is that loved one going to go by themselves to memory care and you're going to live apart? Or do you find a way to stay together? And that's where,
well,
a
that's,
lot of
yeah,
these communities are great for.
big advantage there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things you can do to prepare for that is get a long-term care policy
Yeah.
for you right now while you're still, and take some of that money from the equity in your home and use that to secure long-term. I mean, again, you have to look at all the options, and that's
Sure.
one of the options. So, take some of the money and turn it into a viable, we call it leveraged care solutions or
Awesome.
asset-based care plans. I wrote a book about that called, actually it's called Leverage Care Solutions, and they can get that through our website.
Fabulous.
So yeah.
I am so glad we're talking about downsizing. Tell us a little bit about this new book that really has a lot to do with
Well,
this topic.
and it's actually not a new book. It's the 4th edition. So I've
Amazing.
totally edited it and upgraded it, and made it pertinent to today. It's called The 10 Most Common Estate Planning Mistakes and How to Avoid Them. And they can get the book through our website, which is epmez.com. Pretty easy one to get. Actually stands for Estate Planning Made Easy.com, epmez.com. And that's how they can get it. They can call our phone number, 480-899-1102, and get it. And they get a discount. They get from being one of your listeners.
Mention Answers for Elders and you get a discount.
50% discount. So just
nice.
Mention that. And anyway, so it just talks about the mistakes that people are making constantly.
So David, you and we're going to close out this segment talking about downsizing, talking about the future and how you can protect yourself moving forward right after this. We at Answers for Elders thank you for listening. Did you know that you can discover hundreds of podcasts in our library on senior care? So visit our website and discover our decision guides that will help you also navigate decision making. Find us at answersforelders.com.